শুভ সন্ধ্যা। আজকের বিশেষ আলাপচারিতায় আপনাদেরকে স্বাগতম। কাউন্টডাউন হ্যাজ বিগান। টাউন হ্যামলেটসের মেয়র নির্বাচন 22শে মে। এখন থেকে 48 ঘন্টা পরে নির্বাচন অনুষ্ঠিত হতে যাচ্ছে এবং আজকে তাই এই মেয়র ইলেকশন নিয়ে আমাদের সর্বশেষ অনুষ্ঠান এবং এই সর্বশেষ অনুষ্ঠানে আমরা 4টি প্রধান দলের প্রার্থীদেরকে নিয়ে সরাসরি আপনাদের সম্মুখে তাদেরকে জবাবদিহিতার জন্য দাঁড় করাবো। প্রথমেই শুরু করব ক্ষমতাসীন দলকে দিয়ে, অর্থাৎ কনজারভেটিভ পার্টি ক্যান্ডিডেট ক্রিস উইলফোর্ড। Chris, thank you for coming to the show and thank you for your time. I'm sure you're very busy with your campaign, 48 hours to go. How is your campaign going?
Assalamu alaikum everyone at home. Yes, really close, coming up to the wire, really good, really enjoying it being out there, getting a great reaction on the doorstep. A lot of people like the fact there's a young shadow buyer coming up, starting on his political journey, and they like my message about a fresh start. And so I and my team are just working flat out at the moment, from Bow right the way down through Wapping, right down to the Isle of Dogs. We're really going for it, going all guns blazing, and we're really looking forward to what Thursday and Friday bring.
Okay. Your party track record in Tower Hamlets hasn't been that positive so far. I mean, in terms of MP election, in terms of council election. Conservative Party unfortunately hasn't done very well. So why you are so hopeful?
Well, I mean, we made the breakthrough 8 years ago when we got that first councillor through. Bit by bit by bit, we've grown it. We've got our foothold. We've grown it again and again. We're now up to 7 councillors, and we're looking for more this time election. And I think, I mean, if you look at it, in the last general election in 2010, Conservatives right across Tower Hamlets got under just 20,000 votes right across the borough. The current mayor won with under 24,000 votes to become the mayor. So I think that just gives you an issue with the lower turnout. We can mobilise our vote. They're very keen to come out. They're really passionate about a fresh start for Tower Hamlets. And I think we've got that legacy. We've built it. We made the breakthrough. We've got more to come. And we are the only viable opposition to same old Labour here in Tower Hamlets, and people are backing us. They're seeing us as that alternative voice, and that's why we're really excited about what we're going to do.
But you not only have to fight against Labour this time, you also have to fight against Tower Hamlets first. So do you think your campaign is strong enough? Or your policies are strong enough?
I think so. I mean, let's be honest, Labour and Tower Hamlets first are fighting each other tooth and nail, focused on squabbling with each other. Let's not forget that John Biggs and Lutfur Rahman were both former Labour leaders of the council. And whilst they're fighting, I think we're coming up through the middle. And it's quite exciting to see that. And our policies, our message about housing that works, making sure development is not out of control. And really one of our flagship policies focused on waste and rubbish, scrapping bulk waste charges, things like that. That's really getting traction right across the community.
Labour Party and Tower Hamlets first, they're both using this race card. How will you ensure that if you are successful, that you will be a mayor for everybody in Tower Hamlets?
Yeah, I think what we need to do is we need to put all that behind us, and been trying to fight a positive campaign. There's obviously a lot of national scrutiny on the election here, and a lot of people are very unhappy about how they feel communities are being pitched against each other. So, for instance, a lot of gay people, for instance, they feel a bit squeezed out on the margins. Others feel they haven't got their voice amplified. What I think we need to do is we need a healing process now in Tower Hamlets, where we need to put this behind us. We need to put a fresh face on what's going on here. And the fact that I'm a young guy, I'm coming to the table. I haven't been 8 rounds in Tower Hamlets. I'm sort of coming to it. Lived here sort of, 5 years. Fought my first election here in 2010. Now I'm coming here. So that fresh face, that enthusiasm, that's reaching out to people. And I think what we can do is we can use that as a symbol to unite communities together.
And both John Biggs and Mayor Lutfur Rahman, they're quite experienced politicians. You're standing against two very experienced people. How do you see your chance on that?
Well, I think, professionally, there's no denying they have been round the block a few times. They're both 2 bruisers of the left. But I'm always up for that. I'm up for a bit of excitement. I've got a lot of energy, and I think actually what I bring to the table is a real alternative. I mean, you say they've got a lot of experience, but look what the state Tower Hamlets is in now. Okay, yes, there have been achievements in areas such as education, but look at the state of our streets, look at the mattresses everywhere. I've never seen so many mattresses on the street. You know, where are all these mattresses coming from? I found a cooker on the street the other day. I mean, the waste is out of control, all that sort of thing. So there's all that experience, yes, but look what's it actually delivering on the ground. So I think having that fresh face, having that energy, I think that actually appeals to a lot of people.
So because we have limited time, so we won't be able to focus on all the kind of pertinent issues, but we will focus on few, housing being one, and the street maintenance being another. So you said you've seen cookers on the street, mattresses on the street. How will you deal with those issues?
So
waste management.
Waste management. What we would do is we scrap all bulk waste charges. Immediately, meaning people have the option of using the council. I would also...
so you'll not charge people for waste?
Bulk waste, no, we'd scrap that. That's gone.
So how much? What's the figure we are looking at?
Well, I mean, the figure is millions of pounds, but we would deliver that by scrapping East End Life, which costs over £3 million a year, cutting town hall waste, and making sure that some of that Section 106 money that's sitting in the borough's coffers is used to direct. So what I would do is I would scrap the bulk waste charges for pubs and restaurants and other businesses. Bulk waste would be rolled into their business rates. They're not having to pay twice for that. And we would also designate a mayoral sort of rubbish hit squad, which would be a real focus right from the top of my administration, focused on rubbish. And as well, also getting residents out at the weekends if they want to help us, and really doing a clean streets campaign. Because what we think is actually it becomes a virtuous circle. We're all working together to clean up the rubbish. People feel pride in that area, and we get a bit of that community
You
spirit
said you're going to get rid of Eastern Life.
Yeah, we're going to scrap
What
it.
about some of the advisors the current mayor has?
Yeah.
Will you be maintaining those advisors?
No, I'm going to cut the size of the mayoral office. I personally am going to take a £10,000 pay cut. We're going to really cut the size of the mayoral office from over £500,000 a year right down to a minimal element. And really what I want to do is work with my councillors to deliver a cabinet of all the talents and really deliver for residents there. I think we've got existing talent. We can use that. We don't need to ship in advisors.
What about your housing policy?
Yeah, housing policy. So really, first stop, as I've always been clear for us, housing is the issue of the election. So we need to get the balance here between new developments to cater and give access to affordable housing. So I'm committed to 7 community land trusts across the borough, but also making sure current residents feel in control of how their area is changing. So we would bring local planning committees back to the ward level. We would also put a full stop on development and carry out a 3-month consultation with all members of the community and businesses to talk about what they want to happen in their area of development. Based on the results of that, we would rewrite the local development framework, so getting that balance right, that new housing is not built without the infrastructure to support it. So making sure there's the doctors' surgeries, the schools, the transport links that can support new housing. And that way we think...
But how will you do that? Being kind of, having the transport link, the schools, the GP surgeries, all going to cost a huge amount of money.
Well, actually, for instance, if you look at the Wood Wharf development, for instance, on the island at the moment, the money's already there for the school. It's already part of it. The developers are already paid for it. It's just not being delivered. The resources are already there. They're just not being delivered correctly. And so actually what it is just getting the clear plan in place to make sure that the stuff that should be being built and is already paid for to be built is getting built. So actually it's not a case of bringing in more resources. It's about using the resources already there to deliver for residents.
But how will you ensure that the houses that's going to be built will have a reasonable share for the social housing? The people of Tower Hamlets will get a reasonable share out of that.
Yeah, following my consultation with residents about how they want their area to change, I'll be setting a minimum percentage ratios for the amount of social housing. I don't know the exact number yet. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to deliver 5,000 like the current mayor is and that sort of thing, because what I want to do is speak with residents first, and then based on their views, make sure we get that allocation in place.
Contrary to that, your welfare reform actually, that has hit the ethnic minority community hard. So do you think that the people of Tower Hamlets, where there's a significant amount of minority ethnic community, will accept your proposals in terms of housing development?
I think so, actually. I mean, with regards to the spare room subsidy, our opponents have made a lot of noise about this. This is where, you know, people are getting charged extra because, say, if there's only one resident and they've got 2 bedrooms, they're getting charged extra because they're occupying that space that could be used for others. Actually, we've done a freedom of information request. A lot of our opponents, they said 8,000 people would have to leave the borough. None have had to. And actually, 160 people in total have been affected by the spare room subsidy in Tower Hamlets, according to our freedom of information request. I mean, okay, I accept some people may say that's 160 too many. We've had to take tough choices as a government at a national level to get Britain back on track. We're delivering on that. We've now got the fastest growth rate in the G7. You know, economic growth is back there. We created 450,000 private sector jobs last year. Growth is what's going to take us all out of this and deliver for people going forward. So whilst there's been a minimal impact, what I want to do now is get that fresh start, look at the local level what we can do, working with residents to deliver on the ground. And that's been a really interesting point about this election, actually, is that sometimes I engage with residents on the doorstep, I talk to them, and they say, well, you know, due to Labour's record locally and nationally, actually, we're not backing them. We do like the message of the current mayor. They're saying we're going him. But actually, at the European level, we think the Conservatives are delivering for Britain and they would deliver real change in Europe. So what they're saying is, OK, well, at the local level, we've got question marks. Actually, you're convincing us with your plan and your idea of a fresh start. But at that European level, we're definitely for you. We really think you're the only party that can deliver a referendum. You're fighting hard for Britain. So we're going to be backing the Conservatives in Europe. That's been a really interesting dynamic, because I think politics is changing in Tower Hamlets. Coming back to your earlier point, people have traditionally viewed this as a safe Labour area. That's fracturing. New things are happening here. It's a really exciting time.
Crime rate has increased in Tower Hamlets. What would be your policy?
I think we need a balance with regards to crime. So, for instance, we reckon we can make the savings.
What's the reason behind it, do you think?
I think there's a mixture here. I think it's a case of not delivering effectively at the sort of punishment side of things.
Has unemployment being a factor?
Yeah, I think unemployment's a massive factor. I'm coming on to that, actually, because I think what we should do is not just focus on how we could come down hard on crime, but giving people alternatives to crime. And I'm not sure if we've been ambitious enough in the borough at the moment about how we could deliver that. So with our alternative budget, we think we could deliver over 20 extra Metropolitan Police officers. We could carry out a massive investment programme in low-tech protective measures, so cameras that are working, things like that. But at the same time, partner with leading employers in the borough to deliver enterprise funds. So people for areas, you know, Stepney, you hear a lot about the Stepney Massive, people getting involved in the drugs trade. You'd say to youngsters, actually, and I remember we did a show where we had a lot of youngsters here and we were talking with them about their future plans and that sort of thing. Actually say, look guys, we're going to partner with the Prince's Trust, partner with some leading employers. How about we give you a grant to set up your own business, get on and get ahead under your own steam and use your entrepreneurial skills to better the community, better your own lives. So I think it's that balance between making sure residents feel safe with extra police and low-tech protective measures and giving people other options. Yeah, the money's already there. As I said, we can get a hold on the town hall waste and use our resources more effectively.
Yeah, but you're going to use that resources in terms of taking the waste charge.
Yeah, no.
Where are you going to get the money for the extra policing?
The size of the waste is so much. Actually, it would cover all of this. And we've got a fully costed alternative budget, happy to send this to you after the show, which details all these different bits, which says, actually, if you look at all the waste here, we can channel that more effectively and deliver what we've got already on the front line.
So have you given that suggestion to the current mayor?
Yeah, we've given the alternative budget repeatedly. And, you know, unfortunately, we are in opposition, so we haven't been able to deliver that. But he's got his own agenda, which we would disagree on. You know, I'm a centre-right candidate. He's a social democrat. This election is about policies, not the drama everyone's talking about all the time as well. So really what we would said to him is actually this is what we would do. He disagrees with us because of his point. He says, I want to do this, this and this. Actually what we're saying is all this money is ratepayers' money, is taxpayers' money. This is how we think we could deliver it more effectively, more efficiently and delivering a better deal for residents.
We're coming to the end of this segment. Just quickly, what would be your view in terms of the shift of the Mayor's office, the town hall, from Mulberry Place to where the Royal London Hospital is? I mean, will you maintain that project?
I don't think so. I think £12 million on a new town hall at a time when we will be in straitened economic circumstances and at a time where under a straitjacket Wilford administration, we're channeling resources into those frontline services and delivering what I've been talking about now. I think that move wouldn't be correct. I think there's existing buildings we've got that we could utilise instead. So I don't think, whilst keen on the idea of regenerating Whitechapel, I don't think we would also be investing £12 million in that new town hall.
What's your vision about Brick Lane?
Brick Lane, I think needs a bit of TLC, to be honest. I think it's feeling a bit run down. I think the restaurants don't feel 100% supported. And okay, the current mayor brought Ainsley Harriott down there for a day and they had a bit of excitement there. But actually, I think they need a long-term plan to help them become, once again, the curry capital of the UK. So I think we get the balance, supporting the existing restaurants, but also welcoming the changes to Brick Lane. And that you've got a lot of hipsters, a lot of trendy people coming there. So how we can work with them to make sure, yes, we've got the trendy hipsters there, we've got that excitement that's happening, you know, all those music events and that sort of thing. But also we are sort of backing up the cultural heritage. So what I would do is I would have a session with the restaurants and say, guys, look, I'm not an expert in this area. What do you want me to deliver for you? This is what I'm doing in terms of bulk waste charges. This is in terms of what I want to do with business rates to support you guys through this difficult time. What do you need from the mayoral level? So that's the question I would give.
Good. We're coming end of this segment. How will you ensure for the multi-faith and multicultural community of Tower Hamlets that you can actually serve everybody within this borough?
I think it's a tough job serving everybody, but I think really what it comes down to is visibility, accountability. So it's actually getting out there amongst the community, being very visible, and also working with councillors of all parties to make sure they are visible. So I've got my flagship in Transparency and Integrity pledge. All councillors would be signed up to that. That would be saying, this is what I pledge to do, being visible. This is the amount of surgeries I will hold, and holding surgeries in different venues. So in restaurants, in cultural centres, in public houses, all that sort of thing.
How will you work with other councillors if you have a limited number of Conservative councillors?
Well,
do you think mayors, Tower Hamlets First councillors as well as Labour councillors will support you?
I think the councillors would disagree with me on policy, but I think all of the parties have agreed we need a healing process in Tower Hamlets. You know, this has been an exhausting election. People are, it's getting quite bruising out there, and I think all of the councillors will say, actually, we do want a fresh start, we do want to work together, and this is what we want to deliver for people. And that's really the story of this election. There's lots of things about housing and rubbish, but really this election's about change in Tower Hamlets. The borough is changing, it's changed rapidly, even in the last few years. And really what we need to see is how we can get the opportunity of change, not to see it as a threat. And getting that balance between newcomers to the borough and long-term residents working together, I think that's the message all of the parties would agree with.
And why do you think Lib Dem, Labour and Tower Hamlets First will not be able to bring that change?
I think tired thinking. I think it's time for a fresh start and that energy. We've proven with our councillors what we can deliver for residents right across the borough. Now it's time to put your trust in the Conservatives. We're delivering for Britain and we'll deliver for this borough.
Best of luck for 22nd of May and thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you.
দর্শক ছোট বিজ্ঞাপন বিরতির পর আমরা ফিরে আসছি এবং তখন আমাদের সঙ্গে থাকবেন লিব ডেমের ক্যান্ডিডেট মিস্টার ব্যানার্জি। আমাদের সঙ্গেই থাকুন। Thank you, Chris. Best of luck.